Here's my presentation on inequality in the U.S. school system. The audience that I chose for this paper is Jenny Earl, and she is a director on the Utah Board of Education. And I chose her because she is high up in the education of Utah, and she can help make decisions upon this topic. Inequality within U.S. public school systems was a large issue in time shortly after the Civil War. Integration brought to pass much deliberation over the right path of treatment for different types of individuals in schools. However, the battle towards equality did not stop there. When schools started to integrate black and white individuals in 1954, following the Brown versus Board of Education movement, a lot of opposition followed. A couple years after the opposition calmed down, people started to focus on some of the positive benefits that can come from having students of different backgrounds associate with each other in their school classes. These benefits include learning about different ethnicities, how different individuals were raised, and the values that they hold to be most important. Although these are great things to learn and have a knowledge of, now people get so caught up in finding the benefits of integration that they fail to notice the continuing unequal treatment that is laid right before them. So my claim for this paper is a claim of value, which means that I will be discussing the importance of the issue and why it should be a topic of discussion. And my claim is the academic success of minority students is decreased due to unequal treatment in the school setting. So the unequal treatment causes grade gaps because of 3 reasons. The first being where the source of the discrimination comes from. The second is how that changes individuals' views on the school system in general. And the final reason is the effect that it has on the students. We will discuss in depth a little bit later the different sources that discrimination comes from, and we will find that it mostly comes from teachers, administrators, and both of them creating unequal opportunities for different types of students in schools. And then we will further discuss how the changed view on school is that students start to have an unsafe feeling when they are in a school setting if they are being discriminated against, and how that can affect their grades. And the final thing that we will be discussing is the effect on the student in the way that it puts each individual student at a greater risk for mental disorders. Like I previously said, lower academic performance can be explained by many factors, the first being the impact that unequal treatment has when coming from different types of sources. There was an article written by the authors C. M. Bird and Carter Andrews in 2016, and it was published in the Journal of School Psychology. And this article will discuss how teachers treat unequally and the different types of discrimination that they participate in. So the authors explain that they interviewed many individuals as they pieced together information regarding the types of discrimination that is prevalent in schools, where or who the discrimination is coming from, and how often the issue is becoming a problem in the education system. They conclude that there are 2 major differences in discrimination that comes from teachers and others adults, rather than the rudeness from their fellow peers. The authors state that discrimination from adults mostly affects the students' grades and involvement in school-related activities, as opposed to discrimination from their fellow peers. This claim perfectly demonstrates that teachers certainly do play a major part in the discrimination of their minority students and the resulting grade differences because of it. The authors go on to explain that different ways that the teachers have provided unequal opportunities for students is not letting certain individuals participate in certain extracurricular activities, not giving every student the same amount of help to learn subjects, and not letting students have equal opportunities for growth in the classroom. So a counterargument for this claim has to do with fairness versus reputation. There was an article called Students' Views on Fairness in Education, and there were many authors for this article, and it basically discusses that schools tend to protect their reputations by placing restrictions on certain individuals and the opportunities that they have in their schools. And it says, Mazzoli et al. In the article states that fairness has a lot to do with equality of opportunity within a school setting. And then it continues to discuss fairness versus reputation, and it ends up explaining that fairness prevails. This counterargument really places a sense of selfishness, really. And I believe that if a school is trying to protect their reputation by not letting certain individuals have the same opportunities as others in extracurricular activities or anything else, then that would definitely put a damper on the grades of those students, and that would affect their success because it would affect their mindset on school. The second reason why the grade gap exists in discrimination in schools is that the view of the school system is changed. And this is explained by a study that was done in 2015 where Hope and many other authors interviewed many members of this program called the YPAR, or the Youth Participatory Action Research. And each of these students in this program are students who dealt with discrimination in their schools. And so Hope et al. Hears and takes record of many stories of these students' lives and takes note of the feelings that they felt in these instances. Feelings that included exclusion, distrust, anger, and loneliness. He also discussed how those unfavorable feelings became a drive for unfavorable actions by these students. So this reason explains why grades could be dropping in students because of this unsafe feeling that they feel in their schools. We previously talked about how the discrimination from adults affects the student and their grades, but now we discuss how peers discrimination impacts mostly their psychological well-being. So there's a journal in the American Journal of Public Health that did a study on 5,000 fifth graders and found that mental disorders relate to their grades dropping. In conclusion, as we can see from these reasons, inequality is very much present and thriving in our current school systems. Many individuals may disagree with these arguments and say that there is nothing we can do to help the success gap between minority and majority students, that it is just there. But as it is proven, discriminatory acts can be prevented. The first step is understanding where they come from and what is truly going on within our children's local schools. The second, understanding how victims may feel towards the subject. And third, knowing this and seeing the lasting effects that can come from mental disorders will hopefully prove the importance of this discussion of this topic. Discussion that can lead to greater opportunities, fair and respectful treatment, and eventually for success for every single student. And here are my references.